us.
Yeah, it is. From Lee Boulevard south is all District
It's on
Five.
the south side, so she has a section of
I have a part of
rural
Lawton.
Lawton, or I'm not
Geronimo.
sure.
No, there's Kiowa Housing is down there.
Kiowa
We have
Housing
3
is
houses down there.
3 houses?
Yeah, where the Comanche housing is, there's a Comanche housing project down there. And just west of there, just before you hit Kongyong Town, there's 3 Indian housing. That's why we have some families, I guess, that are blessed with some Kongyong blood, maybe they mixed it up.
Well, on Lee Boulevard, we have a question on where the boundary stops.
We have to get that straight from election board, we're not
And we
sure.
haven't been able to address it because they used, OU.
Yeah.
To help them from the sky, the GPS, to get the direct, where the boundaries are, but we personally feel the, District 4, which it reaches from Lawton, where I am in Lawton, and I'm not sure where it ends, but it goes up into Mears. And so it's called Jimmy Creek. So that's where that is, but
I call it Mount Scott and Mount Scott College is what I call them.
we feel like it should be extended further down Lee Boulevard, that I have more of that section, but we haven't addressed it.
Is there supposed to be cats in here?
No, run it out.
Yeah,
bet that
there's
door's
like
open.
4 or 5 other
Oh my
cats
gosh,
right
those
outside.
doors are supposed to be closed, because they can't tell when them cats are in here.
They smell the food.
They're like all running around.
Uh-oh. Forgot about that. Alley cats, huh?
They came to
Yes.
eat.
Might take them to Carnegie, drop them off over.
It says close those doors because the cats will come in.
Is that what they said?
Yes, there's a sign back there.
I didn't
We forgot
even
to close
see
it.
any sign.
Now they can find all the
Now
cats
you
in
say
the
it,
morning.
I barely got here without hitting.
Maybe we can put some, maybe we,
Trespassing.
maybe we can put some maybe we can put some bowls of food back there in the back and they'll come out and go out.
Yeah, maybe. Little bit of stew, I bet that would.
Yeah,
Put a couple of bowls.
You want me to get a little?
yeah.
I'll get a little of my bowl.
Then, and then we have, Dave Gimasaddle, he has no district, Renee has no districts right now. Ron Pula has no districts right now, he's not elected to any district. Modena Waters is District 7, which is all Kiowa, it's outside of the reservation area, she's not here tonight. She's in fact, she's in Washington right now. And Ben Lucero, and he just now walked in.
Yay.
And he's District 6, he's from Elk Creek, which is Hobart. And he has a really elongated district. Did you see any of them?
We got that.
Oh, good. Wahoo. What I wanted to do mainly tonight is let Davetta take over and let her go over what she is. She's elected KIC, Kiowa Indian Council Coordinator, and that's a new position for the Kiowa Indian Council. And let her explain what she is elected to do for the Kiowas. Davetta, you're on.
Okay.
The contest is on.
Yeah. I'm sure you've seen a resolution form. We've got that on our website with the Kiowa Drive. And
Yeah, I gave them all to you.
would you like to go out and? And
How can we
what
get
we're
back to give us
asking
some of
is
that
that
money for the Constitution?
as you're
To
as
give
you're
us some
learning,
equipment, remember,
along
for
with
that
everyone
budget
else,
in
about the
Isn't that
powers, the
Constitution?
branches of
It's
our
in the tribal
Constitution.
budget.
The Kiowa Indian
Remember
Council
when we
is
talked
a
about putting
branch
most of that?
along
They took
with
$120,000
executive,
legal.
legislature,
So that was in the general
and
fund, wasn't it?
judicial.
General?
So we have 4 branches in the Constitution and we are a branch.
But
So in the Constitution,
People are
as
asking
you
the
read it,
Constitution. I'm
we're-
behind the ones that make
we
that.
have the power to set policy. So there are areas that I'm sure a lot of Kiowas and community areas have some, desires, issues, requests for the tribe. And this is allowing you the opportunity to, write them down and submit them. And then, as we meet in our first annual, which is scheduled for April 7th, we're going to present your resolution as you wrote it up, and we're all gonna vote on it. And then once it's approved, then it's going to be, formatted into a ballot, so that it reads as a ballot, yes or no, based on the fact that our KIC from April 7th approved what your request is, and we're pushing it forward as a process. And then we'll see which ones will, get through the process as far as, being approved by our voters, which includes all our districts. So, since this is going to be a first annual, it's gonna be a learning experience for all of us. But the best part is, it's gonna be a voice for you all as within your community. And of course, anytime you have, questions or requests, you also have your, legislative, leadership involved, so that you can contact, your legislator and just ask questions. What's really good is a lot of these meetings are pretty much informed meetings, so we're sharing a lot of information as to what they are doing for you as a district, and questions, what are the programs doing for, Kiowa members, and most important of all, the monies that are available to get that accomplished. So it's a information meeting, and we can schedule as many as we desire, because we want more Kiowas involved with what's going on at the complex, as far as the activities of the branches. And of course, I'm sure you're aware that we voted in our judges, so, that's starting to get settled in. I don't know how far along we are with the judge, location or the office.
It's coming along.
Oh, good.
You know, we don't have it yet, but I'll.
Okay. So they'll be explaining what's going on with the branches, and they'll explain how they're, representing your district, and hopefully you have their phone numbers. Do you guys do, the website? Do you go onto the Kiowa Tribe website?
I haven't.
Good. Okay, so you notice how we're all up now? We have our webs with our information posted, and we have phone numbers, we have fax numbers. The only thing I see missing are our pictures. We don't have our pictures posted on our website, so that the Kiowa members are able to see who we are, our names, and just get more personal with those web pages. So I think that would be good for us to do, as far as getting that improved, upgraded. And I'm sure, Kiowa members would appreciate that as well. Cause you throw names out there, but if you don't see a face, a lot of times you're not familiar with who that person is until you see them. So, I'm sure you have some resolutions already written up, right, ladies?
Well, I've been thinking about a couple, but, well, Indian City, but are you as the legislators gonna update us on where we at with Indian City?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're gonna give you information. The information sheets that I handed you, excuse me, I really kinda want, I handed you what we have to give you, which I already explained. It was the Constitution and the notes on the laws, that the legislature has enacted. and the legislative calendar, which are the laws that we have enacted and how they have, what action has been taken on those laws by the legislature, and then how the chairman, what the chairman's action was on those laws, and then what's happened because of his actions, what had to be done because of his actions. So that kind of gives you an update. Not kind of gives you, it does give you an actual update on the laws that the legislature has acted upon. And then the last sheet, of course, what I told you was the timelines to be used for the 2018 primary and the general election scheduled for May the 5th and June the 2nd, respectively. The general election ballot will include the runoff candidates, the budget, and the KIC resolutions. Now, I do know that Burnett was a little bit concerned, and he wanted to know whether or not they could include the KIC resolutions on the primary election. But this is what we received. He was told that wouldn't hurt a bit, that he could do that. But I think he's chosen just to go ahead and keep it as he has presented it here. And this is coming
under the general.
This is coming from the election board. This is not coming from us. This is information that we're passing on to you. And this is from the election board. This is not our information. We're getting this also first, secondhand from Burnett's election board. Renee, if you will, go over this legislative calendar and kind of explain to them
This one?
the makeup of it.
Well, that's so little, I can't.
Here, Renee, I've got a whole list of them here. But
Okay, so do you have the
I've got-
other? Okay, let me
yeah,
see this.
I've got the whole, this
Okay.
packet, this is a packet.
Okay. So,
It's so tiny, I don't even
Yeah, I
want to
don't
trust
like this
myself
print.
with it.
because I can't see either. So, the number one was the first election law of 2017, and we passed that as the KBC prior to,
The new constitution?
well, no,
Prior to the ratification,
the
final
ratification,
ratification.
which the ratification, we voted on it, I believe, 417.
Yes, 417.
74% approval by the people who voted. Over 700 voted for the new constitution. It was like 200 and something voted against.
It's a packet right
So
there.
we passed that before it was ratified by the BIA. So we knew it was coming, and in the election law, well, in the Constitution, it tells you what, how the elections go. So because we were like grandfathered into the Constitution, to get us on a pattern of every 4 years, so this is where the election law came in to make, because we couldn't do what happened here, in here, in the Constitution. It said how it would proceed, and that was
Is that number 3?
to
on
make the
this?
staggered offices. So that's the first law. Now, right now, we have an amendment on that, because under that, it states in the last part, it addressed the first election, which was the election in June?
June, yes.
Okay, so to get us started on the track, it was Anita's district, number 5. It was Rhonda's district, number 2, Carnegie. and then it was Ben's district, which would never happened before. So it was a new district, or, you know, a new, you know,
Yeah,
we
we've
all
never-
kind
we've
of.
never had districts before.
No.
Right. We never had districts before, but Hobart never even had, you know, some kind of special representative, nor really did anybody. That was all the KBC. They acted like that. It was a whole different setup on the table. So also, Modena Waters was elected for District 7, which covers all outside the Kiowa Reservation land. So it was split up into where the Kiowa reservations lands were at first. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6. So that's everybody except all those others. District 7 actually has more people in it than the rest. There's
Half the Kiowas.
half the Kiowas are outside in the real world, all across the country, all across the world. So
6,000.
we found that now. Excuse me?
Is it about 6,000,
I think it's about
7,000?
7,000. I don't actually have the document. I have my own district. I've asked for 2 out of Medicine Bluff, which would take in Apache. We've had very low voter turnout from there. So, you know, we need a legislator candidate to come forward in that area. And that, I'm not sure that reaches over to Apache on all those who live there. And I'm going to have that document tomorrow to see how many that is. But that was the first election law. It's on the table right now, because then it says the last sentence, what districts it will be amended to. So it's District 4, which I live in that district, but I don't represent it. It is Anadarko district, and then it is
3.
3, the Apache. I call it, you know, I'm going by the towns there. Now it's bigger than that. So that is the amendment that is currently pending in our office. When an amendment is it's an amendment to that law. But any laws or bills we draft, which become law, if it goes through the process, they have to be posted for 30 days. We have to have a hearing. We have to let the public comment. So this is what we do. And then we can only hold our meeting once a month on the second Saturday. It starts at 9 o'clock. So this is where it starts. A lot of people have said, why are we doing that? You know, it's too early. Kiowas can't get there. We are going by the Constitution. So that's why it is. So that was that law, which was these 2 laws were very important because it had to get us going, you know, so we would know we were no longer under the KBC. So the election process was, it would have left us maybe in there without really knowing how long we're in there. So then we signed, we made a law, the next one, in fact, it was on the same day. And it was the Grant Application and Authorization Act of 2017. And this just provided the chairman and other departments with a standing authorization to apply for grants. Because if we have to go through our process and there's a grant pending, that we might miss a deadline if it's a grant that's on a deadline. So we couldn't really, you know, hold up a grant for 30 days or more. By the time it goes to the chairman, you're talking 40 days. And so we gave him that authorization that he doesn't have to bring every grant application to our table. So then the next one we felt a need for was the assistance. And it was called in the past the contingency fund of the tribe. And it was kind of being done in the time before this as treasurer. There were no rules. Whoever comes to the tribe and whoever's in charge of giving the money or whatever, it was the ED. They gave as much as they wanted to the individual. There were no regulation on who, you know, was there a true need? Are they employed? Is there 10 people living in the household? Do they really deserve to have money? Not necessarily deserve, I say that wrong, but was the need really legitimate? When I found out it was not, was when the 1099s were given out. And the 1099s we got as tax forms, we never got them. So where are they? You know, if you had meeting fees, where's our tax forms? So they were a month late giving them to us, the finance department, which told us they didn't know they had to give them to us. So that caused a month delay, which was no big deal, I guess, no big deal. But when I seen Finley and Cook had been hired on, and they actually did the 1099. So when I see the stack, it's this big. Well, there's only 8 of us, so I know we didn't have 200 1099. So who had them? So go through the list. I see a lot of employees that are making very good money, and that got some very big amounts from the tribe. So I already knew in my mind with this that it had to be immediately addressed.
What number is that one you're
This
talking
is
about?
number 3. It says contingency, and actually this is wrong, because this should say Emergency Assistance Fund Regulation and Fairness Act. It was amended to say that. We got away with rid of contingency. So when I see this, and then we had 2 employees that left that owed 9 loans to the tribe. I had asked the ED hold their check because they're gonna pay us back. You know, we're gonna take that from their final check. And he released that money to them, and so we never got that. And this has been a pattern with the tribe. From what I understand, all these loans against their paychecks, and I want to say it's stopped. I don't know to what extent. Maybe they can get one, but you know, I don't control the treasury right now. So with this,
Can Vivian or I get a loan?
Honda,
Can Vivian or I get a loan?
Change now.
it's not a loan now. It's the emergency assistance. All members of the tribe can get
Is
this,
eligible.
even
Well, they're
District
eligible.
7. There was originally 100,000 we put in it. Okay, that doesn't go far when you got 7 districts, and there's a limit. We put it at, you know, I heard 500, 200. Okay, come on, this support
Well, I
tribe
think
right
that's
now.
part of what the confusion for, people that don't live there is that, well, Vivian, to me, it's not that old, but, there's another lady here that's older, and we don't know anything.
Okay, so I'm telling you about
Yeah,
this.
I mean, but I'm just saying, this is where
What,
a lot of confusion comes from.
And you have
What
a
I-
representative.
One,
You can ask me.
one thing I heard always, only Carnegie gets it. They hear about something, they're jumping on it. It's been the past for, you know, always. Carnegie hears about money, they get it. So, the fairness of it is what I looked at. And then I looked at the employees who got it. And you know, I wanted to reveal their salaries at last year's KIC meeting. Not necessarily their names, but their positions, so that people would know they are being paid well.
You know, when you.
I had always thought everybody's on minimum wage. We have not one person on minimum wage.
You know, I got
with the
this
tribe.
whole thing when we went up there for that first KIC meeting, and this was before the new constitution or after the new constitution?
Which KIC meeting?
The
'Cause-
big one in the gym?
Okay, we had an informational meeting.
Yeah, I guess that one.
We had an annual meeting, which there was we had a vote of in March to, you know, Amber and them had never approved a
I
budget.
think this was in October, Saturday,
Okay.
October 15th.
That
So it
was,
was
that wasn't a very first
information.
informational meeting, just to meet and say,
And-
here we are, we're the new KBC.
They
It was
kind of
not
try
a,
to give everybody a lowdown.
Cause you know, we got all these reports from the different programs, but
Right,
there wasn't a budget attached to any of these
yeah,
reports.
cause we didn't have a
No.
budget.
we
There's
didn't,
nothing. Okay.
we didn't, and we still don't know where the money all is.
Well, dang, that's 2016.
Yeah,
Well, and they had been operating
about it.
in that manner because actually the finance department was, Sandy Poolaw had left, Kay Brown, and they had two people. One was a clerk, technician, and the other was, you know, the lower echelon. Well, they made them the accountant and the senior person, so you have people working in positions that,
So since this meeting, since we started with the new constitution, basically y'all have had to go through and make sure we can function with your laws that you're creating.
yes,
well, we are dressing
sorta.
That's
here,
what, so
and
we're still building.
we're
Yeah.
still way
Okay.
for, you know,
So what's the timeline for that?
well,
It
in my
depends.
mind, if I'm still here, and I could see pretty much a clear picture on the first week I was there of what needs to be done. But I'm not in the position of chairman. I'm no longer the treasurer to watch the money. And so there's a block to us. We can only address what we know. We know this was going on, so we put the rules in, we divided the money, we had 100,000, it went like that. The girl that was hired, I told her in the past, what they did was they would take an application when they got some money. They didn't go back to the people that had applications. Those were pretty much, you weren't here when the money, those are out. So I didn't think that's the proper procedure we should go with. So rules are in place on this money. It is determined by the Miss Kay Mapo. She also does the LIHEAP, and there's money, I'm told, available right now. I was told that today, and she does the funerals because there was a problem with the funerals when we came in, hadn't been paid. So that got caught up because the paperwork was everywhere. So I took care of the funerals. When
Okay.
she came in, I gave that, my process to her.
Okay, then what does the TA, or what do we call him?
Executive
Yeah,
director.
What does
It's
he
no
do?
longer the TA. Well, he is supposed to be the one to take care of the day-to-day operation, which is the tribe, the employees of the tribe. But the chairman is in charge of the employees. So the TA, in my mind, if I had that job, I would be trying to, you know, do all the functions that need to take place in the 21st century. We're still back in the 20th century. The business has not been updated in any way. So if I was the ED, I would be working with the tribe, but we're told he works for the chairman. So that tells me a little about the ED, that his alignment is only with the chairman. What is said, he does. So, you know, there's still chaos. I see it. There's been little baby steps here and there. So anyway, this was the emergency assistance. We've now in the budget modification, $100,000 more. My legislature in agreement last Friday, we want $100,000 more at this time, and we have the funds available. We have located the funds in this budget modification. And this is not any money that is at the tribe at this time. And part of that is grants that were left off the budget. They didn't put them on there. And we did that budget, but we
said
did
we,
it blindly.
the financial
Legislate.
person.
No,
The legislature, there was no financial person. He was just hired. Comanche, used to work there. You know,
Carter guy.
no, he was appointed as the treasurer.
No, Mr. Wakini.
Mr. Wakini
He used
is
to
the
be
CFO.
employed by the tribe.
He worked there for about what, for a year and a half?
I don't know.
And he left last year and he came
Now,
back.
we met with him, Mr. Carter, and Mr. Redbird
Redbird.
on,
Tuesday.
Which
That's
Mr. Redbird?
Ernest.
that's what I've been asked.
Ernest
Which
Redbird
one
Jr.
is he? He used to be Donnie's, when Donnie was in office, it was his vice chairman. So it's that Mr. Redbird,
He
the
used to
older
work at
man.
the agency. You remember when he worked there?
Oh,
as
I know you're talking
superintendent?
about, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so
That's the
we
other one.
met with them on the budget modification because, you know, I had 700,000 to work with. So, you know, I was willing to talk to them if there's some area. I know there were people left out of that budget, and I was willing for them to come, actually for the chairman to come to the table. He did not. So, talking to them, really only Mr. Wakini had anything really to say.
Okay, so for me, I see we have all these things that you're all over here treading water, they're over here treading water, and then you're bringing new people that's gonna be treading water, but nothing's happening.
Well, I differ
I mean,
with
I
this
see
citizen.
y'all doing something personally,
Yeah,
that there's stuff there.
we're planning the future of the tribe once we get a judicial court, which that is the main purpose of the budget modification.
I mean, people like me and other tribal members that really don't need the tribe. We're
Right.
functioning
But you
American
care
Indian
about the
citizens.
tribe.
Right. We're making it. We got food our
Right.
we got food in our belly. We're
It's not
we're
us,
fine.
Susan. Yes.
But it's our elders.
It's our
and our
elders,
children.
you know, we firmly believe from our table, that's the ones that got money from us. It's every branch got something.
And like you said, when it comes
But
to
it was
burial,
the elders, the social services, the children with the new schools, the alcohol and drug program. We even gave money for the finance office to have training because I looked in his eyes and I could see he was pained on what the little he told me, and I had more conversation with him today. He was not aware we put 37,000, but they don't know the operating system. And you cannot have a finance department that has a
but we still have
software
Finley and
system.
Cook to
no,
look at our
No,
books.
he
Matt fired them at the
last
end of April.
last year.
no.
Then who's doing that?
The present
office.
audit is being done by somebody out of Houston, Bailey, and somebody. We only got one opportunity to talk to her. Matt has said the audit's finished. We found out
It's not
it
finished.
is not.
Well, I mean,
They're
we
still
want to see it black
digging
and
for
white.
2014. They're still digging for the stuff that could be lost,
Oh,
that may
dear.
never be seen.
Oh,
So,
dear.
and we're on a drop
Drop
dead
dead day.
deadline with the BIA. That's
Next
why
month.
we can't even really appeal for the BIA judicial money. But we feel like we have a way to do that. So that's where this money is. And that's number 3. No, that's number
Well,
2.
honestly, I
Three.
mean, I don't really. The money deal is always going to be foremost on everybody's thoughts. But
Right.
to me, does the tribe have a policy book? Do they have
Okay,
guidelines?
well, let us tell you about that. Okay. So there was this office on our side that was
dear.
filled with all
Books and binders.
no
Boxes.
nothing. Okay, so the chairman moved across the hall. That office Tracy took over. Dave was in there. Dave really said he didn't need an office. So when we hired Tracy, he let Tracy come in there, and she had that office. Well, all that stuff, when Matt moved across, went into this other office behind him. So one day, me and Anita said, we're going to go find the current policies and procedures. So we go in there thinking it's going to be easy. And we found so many policies and procedures, none with dates on them, none saying they were adopted by the KBC. So we filled this file box that big all the ones we could find, and we never stepped further than halfway into that office. And then while we were doing that, we spent a half a day. You know, I was trying to sort out stuff over here to put in the bookshops, the bookshelves. Well, once we left there, okay, we went through them, we could not find what's the current. But there is, so anybody could say, this is the current, because there's no revision dates, there's no.
Okay, and who was the administrator at that time?
You mean
God
in all
only
them
knows.
years? This is 40 years. This isn't just yesterday. This is all these, who
Every
knows?
administration that was in there.
What year that they, you know, what should happen, okay, if you have
Well, I can tell
policies
you,
and
y'all are crazy
procedures.
to try to take it on.
No, I had in my mind, okay, in my mind, okay, if they said this is the one that HR is using, so there was two different ones. In my mind, I would have solved that day one, not day one, but I would have did a concentrated effort with all the directors. We get this out, we put it on the overhead, and we're gonna redline what we wanna change to update. So this is how I would do it. I would bring them in, not all at once, and we do it all at once. You know, you're gonna take probably a couple months to do it, because you're gonna have this suggestion, you're gonna have this, I want them to work. To, you know, they've been there. They know what's happened, but I also know HR. I've seen this done. And I know it's not rocket science. We could do it without paying anybody to do it. So, but that was that never happened. We could even bring the we were the KBC. Then after the document is, you know, if there's an ED, he gives his blessing, you would bring it to the KBC, or now it would come to the legislator. We put our stamp, you put the date on it, and that's the document that all other documents, you might as well dig that hole that I understand they did at one time and shove all the old documents into it. And so we've heard that. So what's in that hole, where it is, who knows? Is that way, way in the past? I don't know. So this is how you would do it now. You get the document, you pass it on the legislature, you put it into a law, whatever. This is the law of the policies and procedures right now. And then if there's a revision by that side, you put a revision date. It happened on this date, and this is all what was revised. You note it in the book. So that has never taken place. But if you'll move on to the next three laws, they all have to do with fiscal procedure, the finance department,
Yeah, let's just skip that. That is.
the signature authority. Those are
Well, like I
all.
said, I was wanting y'all to make me positive Patty, but that's not happening.
No, don't get. I'm not. You know, it sounds bad,
We're progressing.
but
Let's go to number 9, Kyle
Big
Houses.
Okay.
Baby steps.
So
Number 9.
Kiowa housing is kind of Matt's baby.
Oh dear.
So we went and seen HUD, and we know Kiowa housing. Are you leaving?
Yes.
Are you taking the stew? Huh?
We left some.
Oh, because I wanted to make a plate for my husband with a piece of fry bread.
Okay.
Okay, because he'll be looking mean at me when I get there.
Yeah, we
But
have some.
thank you, darling. Thank you so much. It was great. I'm stuffed, but I could eat more, I guess. But
There was
okay,
left.
so the HUD we went to, was it HUD or
Yeah.
Nahasta
Had
in Oklahoma City? And Matt wanted
they're
to.
one and the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, HUD, not a HUD.
Pretty much Matt wanted to get rid of all the people there and, you know, change the commission. And, you know, I agreed that, you know, the housing is a mess. They're under 5 different charters, all the houses.
I thought we were under the Chickasaws anyway.
No.
No. We're under the tribal housing entity designee, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Is Luke Toibo, who has 4 other programs. His programs, you know, they're clean with audits. He manages their money. He was the one who made the deal with HUD or whoever.
Well, I think that's why I wanna do that, because like I said, we got it, I mean, I know the few people that are Kiowa here, well, we got hit by a tornado, about a year and a half ago. You know, a little bit of roof damage, but everybody just did it on their own. And I really felt like some of our elders should have got a little bit of help with roof damage, but they're so discouraged about even going up there for help. They
Well,
just absorbed it on
you
their
know,
own.
Luke has some programs.
Yeah.
Now, whether they could apply, I can't tell you. I don't know his programs by heart, but we've certainly been prepped.
That's
I didn't bring
information I
that.
think would be good on the web.
But
because-
what's the problem with Kiowa housing that Luke has told us? There's been 5 different nonprofit organizations under there by the tribe at different times. When there was drama, they started a new nonprofit. They have 5 EINs, employee numbers, for nonprofit status. Where the problem is, because people don't have deeds. There's a problem with the deeds. There were deeds that were ripped up. There was 10 million owed back to HUD. That has now been paid through Luke Toibo making a deal to get it lowered and to get us back on the path of housing. So out of all these homes, and I don't have the numbers right with me, I didn't bring that, my information on that. You gotta figure out, okay, which homes belong to that EIN? And that's not known.
Well, like I said, way over
So when
here,
you're
we're not even
talking-
under Kiowa housing. We both have to go through Comanche housing. Well, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Kiowa's aren't gonna be on very high on the list, once you get on the list.
But for
So really,
what
we're over here-
purpose do you go to Kiowa Comanche housing?
Well, if you wanna get an Indian home here, you have to go and put your application in.
They're not building Indian homes, are they?
No, but they're empty ones. There's
Oh,
like 5
to-
empty ones
for
right
the-
now,
To rent them.
but they're gonna
Yeah,
go to
you're not-
Comanches first.
You're not gonna get
They're not gonna
that
go to
from
a
the
Kiowa
Comanches.
person.
You're not gonna get that, I admit.
So that's our problem here. If you're Kiowa and we live
Well,
over
you know,
here.
everybody wants a home. I mean, who doesn't?
Or, like I said, with being hit by a tornado and people having some roof damage, like I said,
Well,
everyone
see,
had to
that's
pay
the
their own,
problem
even
with
if they're elders.
which houses, and are they Kiowa homes? That is something.
Well, most of our Kiowas live in homes that we own that are fee. We pay taxes on them.
Well, there
We've
is
been
a
without the tribe
program.
for so long.
There's a program for that, depending through Luke's program. I can't tell you or speak for Luke in his program, but we can certainly bring him in to have him explain.
Well, he does have that insurance, Aetna insurance, that is, it's a home, you can be a Kiowa and own your home,
Yes.
and you can take out Aetna insurance if you're a Kiowa and you own your home. You don't have to have a Kiowa home, but you have to be a
Is it
Kiowa.
Aetna, Anita?
Yes, it's Aetna. And you can get your insurance for your home out of Aetna. He's the first Indian housing
Now, Ben,
person that has that insurance, and it's under Kiowa housing.
Well, that's the kind of thing that I think our elders need here.
well, there's
There's some
more
help like
to
that.
that, because there's also some money available. They get their money on the calendar year in January. There's money that's available, like for rental assistance.
Oh,
To
yeah.
get somebody in a home. So there is that money available, but, people may not know about it.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and Anita, since you're our representative, is that here we're way over here. People barely even think we're Kiowa,
They
because
think
we're
you're
way over
Comanche.
here.
And I'm way over here with you.
Right, but our people here need to know what's available to them,
And
without having to go all the way to
we've
Carnegie.
had these
or-
questions, we were meeting with Luke every month
Every month.
to know more and more. Well, now in the last 2 months, just a lot of stuff with the casino, with
The hotel,
the
drama with the
KCOA.
chairman.
I mean,
Housing.
every single one of these laws, there was a reason we addressed it at that time. Every single one of them. People say, oh, you don't know what the right hand from the left hand is doing. Well, I dispute that, because I know exactly what we thought on the table, and that it must go in a law. that law is not being obeyed now, in the future, if we, how things progress, when we get the judicial court, this will be on the books. Besides the regular Kiowa code or the criminal procedure, we are placing this, we could sit back and not do anything, like every single KBC that went forward came to a once a month meeting. Barely do they come to the tribe, even when they were being paid. We could have come in as the KBC and did that. I had no intention of doing that. I wanted to be there to help the tribe, and I think my fellow legislators now wanted the same thing. So we could sit back and not do nothing and say, hey, we don't know what this says.
Well, honestly,
but
Renee, I mean,
we're trying.
you guys, like I said, I feel like y'all are just treading water because you're having so many little fires to put out before anything is done.
As long as
For
we're
me,
not drowning, we're
right.
not
We're
drowning.
not drowning.
Well, if Trump has his way, we're gonna be drowning. But
Well,
in my
that's it,
opinion,
and we need to put up that fight. And if we
Right.
had a united type of,
but in my opinion, I guess I
government, we
need to do
could.
these resolutions is, well, we own Indian City. It's not something, like I said, that when I put on there that when you came to the motel, they had the meeting in Lawton about the motel and was talked about a project in Hobart. Okay, that was discussed from the gaming commissioner about
gaming
Hobart
or KCOA.
gaming, because that's who had that meeting at the motel, who wanted us to
Which
pass the motel. Which motel?
Yeah, which one are we talking about?
Red River. They had a meeting in Lawton to try to get us to vote for the hotel.
That was the KCOA. The gaming commission does not do that. They do the regulation inside
Well,
the
who's
casino.
that man that got let go?
Robbie, it's the
He's
Kiowa
the Kiowa
Casino Operating
Operations
Authority.
Well, he
So-
was.
Okay,
Okay.
that is the entity the tribe put in place that separates the business from the politics of the tribe. It's so we don't get robbed like we were robbed with the casino grant.
Okay, so to me though, we have Indian City that's ours. Nothing being done.
Yes,
The project in Hobart is now dead in the water.
No,
not
Okay.
quite.
don't say that.
Okay.
It is not.
Ben,
Okay.
This
You're
is our
on,
Hobart
Ben.
representative.
So it's still, even though
It's
Zink
gonna
could
go
have,
forward.
Zink could have signed it, Zink could have signed Indian City
It wasn't ready,
to
Susan.
trust. But if the Kiowas knew he's coming, why wasn't it ready?
Us,
We
Is
didn't know he
that-
was coming.
us
Chairman?
Kiowas didn't know that.
We didn't know
Did
he
you
was
know
coming.
that, Devetta? Nobody knew.
Okay, so the
except the
executive
chairman.
yes.
Could have had that paperwork for
And
Zink
we
to
don't know
sign.
what
to put
happened
in
in
trust.
that meeting.
The executive could have signed the Hobart
Yeah.
to put in
That
trust,
would've
because
been-
now we've
that
known
would've been
about
a
that
good
for
way to
over a
do it,
year.
but we don't know if they knew how long, because the way the chairman told us that they only had, 2 days?
That's what he said.
You know what? I can get a lot done in 2 days.
Right. They had 2 days, but nobody else knew about it.
You know,
And
he
he
Well,
had,
said
then it is on him.
We
Yeah.
were out of town.
Okay.
And
Then,
we
besides
didn't
that,
realize there
well,
was
then how did the
email,
gift shop get
phone.
rolling?
Through
Smoke
Mr. Eisenberg, he's the one that got it going.
How did he get that done so quick?
Tell
Because
us.
I'm gonna tell you something. I saw those shirts in the print shop in Lawton before y'all even started. Well, I don't know where I work. You have to have a requisition. You have to have a purchase order. You have to have approval before you can start making orders.
he took
That
3
is the
checks.
correct way to
That-
get
You're
it done.
correct.
He
You're
gave the
correct.
money before we got the merchandise, which I was the treasurer.
Not
But Matt
surprised.
insisted
Did you think
Charlie
you could
be
have gone
on
and got the
there.
money first before you had the merchandise? No, you would never been able to get it, but yeah, somehow he got it.
Well, it's not the correct
He
way.
barely got
so
it.
we've done it.
You're right.
And there's still 7,000 in question.
That's what I'm gonna have a resolution. I wanna know everything that happened before.
That's right. That's where
Yeah.
I would put it. Right
So
there.
if he's watching this, get ready, dude.
Mhm.
Okay. I wanna know why the Hobart thing didn't get Zinke's signature and why Indian City didn't get Zinke's signature while he was on our property in Carnegie.
And you know what? The chairman and the vice chairman met with Tasuda yesterday in Washington.
And you know what happened at that
Did they get a
meeting?
signature?
We don't know.
Okay,
We don't know.
okay, let me tell you what happened.
We
at
were
that
gonna
meeting.
go and meet with
We
him.
didn't get that meeting, and then Mr. Tsuda wanted to know if we were gonna be there. We're not there because I didn't wanna waste travel money, me and Anita, We were gonna go on the economy plan. Me and her together, share a room, cheapest way we can. So that didn't happen. We didn't have that confirmation. We did not go. Modena went for District 7. So yesterday that meeting happened. They had 15 minutes. The chairman had no documents in his hand. In fact, Modena said at the beginning, nobody spoke. The chairman didn't speak. So she started speaking. Well, she had stuff to take him, our laws, the newspaper. He liked the newspaper, his
Take him a
pictures in it.
flag.
The chairman only gave him a flag.
I hope it was a blue
And
one.
I was hoping it wasn't the black
Yeah,
one.
exactly.
So that's what I said when I
was gonna
read
ask you
this.
where that was at today.
It
but I
better
thought about
not be that black one. But
And
the
those pink
chairman
ones,
said,
pink ones too.
there's a hallway of all tribal flags, and he
I
did
didn't want to
give him
ask
that.
you. I'd rather keep
But
that
we
now.
knew the chairman would not be able to be prepared to talk to him. We knew he would have no documents in his hands. If we had gone there, we knew exactly, and we couldn't let Modena speak for us. We didn't let her. She knew something, but we didn't let her speak for us because then it might have got twisted. And if we have to go to Washington, we will be going. But I'm not going just because I'm sorry now I didn't go to the National Congress of American Indians, because if I had been in Washington, I would have tapped on the doors of all those people who could help us down the line for the tribe. I doubt our chairman did that. I would have spoke to Elizabeth Warren last night at the American Indian Museum and got her attention when she spoke to those there. I would have tried to, and we would have already had our ducks in a row that regards the judicial monies that we need for the tribe to start the court. I would have done all that, but I was thinking cheap, because I was thinking, about our travel money and how much we gotta spend and where I might have to go. So, go ahead.
Sorry, I just shared with him the letter that was handed out over there at Hobart.
Oh,
And so, but the thing about that is Mrs. Robertson said that there is no application in process, but she did receive that letter.
so they don't have the application for
No.
Hobart yet. There was one given in September to Mr. Poe to start the process. On January 8th or 9th,
7th, I think.
the chairman pulled that, right before Zinke came. We didn't know that right away. Ben has been our investigative
CSI.
CSI.
So
He's learning, but he has great strength to talk to the chairman and
Well, I
And to
think,
be
He
a
does it
true
nice. I don't know how he does it.
well, I think that
he wants
Honestly,
to learn everything, but it's a process.
we should be concentrating on things we do have,
right.
and not
Okay.
the things that we're maybe
Are you
gonna
talking
get.
about Indian City?
Indian
So do
City?
you want to know what's happened about Indian City since day one we've been here in office?
Mhm.
Oh, is it John been here?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Okay, so what happened with Indian City, June? Okay, we were told the work that has to be turned in on the application, that the tribe had it, that there was documents in the safe. One day we're rolling in, I think me and Anita, and I see June Artichoker. And I said, well, Anita, there she is, ready to recall us. So I pulled in, she had papers like this, and she actually came over very nice to me. And on that manila folder, it had my name.
I got up and went in.
She went in, she didn't wait for the recall papers, so I talked to
I said,
her.
let her recall me.
And she started talking about Indian City, and she said in that packet there was those papers for the application. So I could see my name was on it. So we talked nice. She told me about whatever from 100 years ago, and she had those papers, but she never gave them to me. So then, we still knew. I had pleasant conversation. I thought she was going to hand them over. She never did. So she left our Head Start lady. Well, we had a director. She was ill. So the second person, Dada, was in charge, and she told us about Head Start. And she's the one who actually had told us there was these documents in the safe, and that pertaining to Indian City. And then she also told me she knew where they came from. What firm in Lawton did that? So in my mind, I'm thinking, if we don't have them documents, I'm gonna get them I'm gonna go to that place and see if we can get a new copy. Do we have to have new stuff? Whatever it is. So, lo and behold, and I wanna say it was in January or February, I get a bill. And the bill wasn't really an identified $5,000 bill. Well, who is this? So they didn't have, it was a bill, the invoice they made up themselves, but it didn't have, their name, but there was a number. So I called them up. It was out of Anadarko. And she said, well, this is to get the process started for Indian City. Well, who authorized this? The chairman. So I had this $5,000 bill, and I thought, well, damn it, I wanted to get that free from the other company, but I don't know if it would have been pertinent at that time. But she kind of told me how the process, this is there was a lawyer involved, whatever that was. So I told her, well, just send me the invoice correctly and I'll pass it through, since the chairman is trying to do something about Indian City. So it was paid for, and I heard nothing more. So when Finley and Cook was hired, on the day they realized how bad the situation, which was their first day of work, wasn't it?
I would imagine so.
They went into the finance office and they seen the finance people admitted to them, what the state was, because we hired them back. They had to catch up. Nothing had been receipted into the tribe since in the summer before we came. And it was just, you had two girls not knowing, clerks to executive director. So think in the finance department.
They
where
still have
that
jobs
would be.
there?
Huh?
Do they still have jobs there?
In what capacity, Susan?
I guess financial.
He's put people in there. Are they qualified? None of them have degrees. Sandy's been there a million years. People have confidence in her. I don't know how much confidence I have in her. I say, I don't know. I
So
don't
in
know.
order to get something done I'm going to have to write a resolution on, we, the KIC, want to know the things that went on with Indian City.
Well, you might have a distorted picture, and what makes you think, okay, you're writing a policy. Even if we wrote that same policy, what makes you think you're going to get the answers?
Well, if it goes on the ballot and it gets approved by the KIC.
And what makes we are the legislative branch. The KIC is their own branch.
Right.
So right now,
That'd be 1/4 of
where
County.
do you think that would go?
Well, let me see.
It's gonna go to the KIC, it's gonna be put on the ballot if it is approved. So it might come to our table. So this is our process.
I guess
We're
I have
gonna
to
use, and then what do you think has happened to the law? Without the judicial court, the law cannot be enforced. I can't hold anybody accountable.
I guess it has to be stated in the whereas,
As far as what?
who we want it to get done through. Well, I guess if they
At
need
all power, the chairman read the Constitution.
well, then we'll
And
have
the
the chairman
power
get it ready.
Is the power of the chairman is to enforce the law. So if that becomes the law, will he enforce the power under his executive privilege? We can't step on his power. We can go through the judicial because that's the check and balance. We have certain check and balance, But where do you think that'll go? So think about that. When we elect a new chairman, that you get somebody either that will lead the tribe into a future and be qualified, or who's gonna be traveling all over the country and we don't know what he's doing. So that's my appeal to the tribe. Because this is the law. This is out of, basically, we're writing the bills for a law. Policy is only policy unless it becomes the law. You can't force us, you can't force the chairman. So even if we took your policy and we make it a law, and this is the law, this is the first part of it, will the chairman hear you? Because so far,
Then we're just
I don't
wasting our
know,
time.
has he heard any of this? I don't know.
Well, we're just
No.
wasting our time then.
Well, no, your
I mean,
law.
honestly, if it's not gonna get done, I
Well,
feel like we're wasting our time. I
Okay,
mean,
well,
I'm a busy
Susan,
gal.
everybody can say that, but it stays on the books. Will he be the chairman till the day he dies, or? I don't think so. I don't know if he'll be the chairman in the next election in June. So it's up to the tribe to
Well, according to what you just
Rally
said, it's not.
candidates. Rally a candidate.
rally the candidates that you
Find a
feel
candidate.
and you know are going to work
Well,
for the
that's supposed to
tribe.
be Matt.
Did you elect him? I did not.
Well, the people voted for him.
We had 9 candidates. There was a picture of 2 women who would never get in, cause Amber, okay, they would never get in. Then you have a whole list of recall people. They weren't, gonna be there. Matt was the one who said he won the 2013 election. The BIA never sat him in there because they knew it was an illegal election.
You know,
So-
Renee, it's kinda like we voted
I
on,
didn't vote for
we
it.
voted for blood quantum. How many times we've actually voted for blood quantum?
Okay, so that's a whole nother issue if you wanna talk about it.
Well,
I'd
that's what I'm
love-
saying. We
I'd
keep
love to
voting on
talk
stuff
about
and
it.
nothing happens. And that's why you've got 2 people at your meeting all the way in Walters, Oklahoma. I mean, I don't know how y'all are doing it, spinning your wheels, doing nothing. Get
Okay,
nothing.
don't talk like we're, wasting our time. I do not believe that. I'm willing to fight for the tribe.
Well, I was,
If
but
everything is apathy, then that's how it'll be.
well, if no one's gonna make sure it gets done, I mean,
How
obviously
would
if
you
Matt
make
doesn't
sure?
wanna do it, he's not
How
gonna do it.
KIC has more power.
Well, you
are
just
the
got through
masses.
saying that even if we get
You
this
have the
enacted,
numbers. Why has nobody confronted that door?
Chairman's door.
I've been at that door.
Did you get in?
Yeah,
Did you talk to him?
yeah,
Did he say yes, yes, yes?
yes, he did.
And did you come back and say why?
Well, it was just over the flag thing, but y'all already did the law.
Okay, and I do know. Well, actually, you had that thing with the museum and the tags. The money to go to that. I can't. Matt controls the treasury. So I can only work with what I can work with, but I haven't give up. Have y'all given up yet?
Nope.
Nope. I don't have anybody here that's given up from the 8 people
Yeah,
I'm
but
working with.
if I get to what you're saying is that even if we write a resolution, and even in the whereas, which these things really bug me.
Yeah.
They're about the stupidest thing I've ever seen, but, this is what we deal with. That even if you have the whereas, there's no guarantee it's gonna happen. Even if the people vote on it.
Life is kind of like that, Susan.
Mhm.
There's no guarantee. But the KIC has the masses. Where are they?
Like I said, y'all are all the way over here for just 2 people,
I'm cool.
It's okay.
Because I tell you, and then maybe you reach out. I don't know. I say, believe me, it's not all, bad.
Well, like I
It's
said,
not all doom and gloom. Are you helping people? I know she is. Somebody who was waiting for a child to be adopted for 6 years reached out to me, and I reached out to her. Of course, she's very busy. I'm very busy. We've seen each other several times. I could never just say, did it happen? Well, at Hobart, before she ran out the door, I said, wait, girl, just tell me, did anything happen with that person? She told me, Renee, they're gonna adopt that little girl on March something. I said, they're coming from out of state? She said, yes. And there was some, whatever it was in that office that caused that to take 6 years or however long. She's had the kid since she was a baby. So, I gave Devette a hug, and then that person happened to reach out to me just the other day because I hadn't had time to tell him anything, and she told me she's very thankful. She hopes to meet you, and they're looking forward to that little girl being a permanent part of their life. So everything isn't all gloom. That's Devette is in that department. She never worked in that capacity. I'm glad she's there. I have faith and hope that she's doing the right thing. I believe she is, that she's pulling things together. Had an acting director that was probably there for
so Devetta, but your
10
job
years.
as the KIC coordinator, when these resolutions go to you, and they're put on a ballot, but not the first ballot, because you've got to get to the point that they can go on a ballot.
Right.
So really, you're looking at second time.
Well,
And then
will it be
once
a
these
second ballot?
resolutions are passed, does that fall to you to make sure they go through since you're the KIC coordinator? Or to the person the department that is over that? You
Not
even have
the
departments.
The chairman has the power. It's just like every.
Well, what is her
what
power?
happened to all the issues you talk about? The blood degree. What happened with all them? It's just that's a different format. They were issues that never were moved forward because the KBC met once a month. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to do the business.
Now, I know I
Legacy.
voted on it 3 or 4 times.
So yes, you did.
Uh-huh.
No KBC pushed that forward. We were the only ones. When it came to a vote in March, we had Sherry Levin come in and tell us.
But are the kids online? I mean, are the people getting enrolled?
Well,
Not yet.
okay.
And
You
y'all
mean
been
for
there
what?
since when?
Per
No,
what?
we were in
There-
the middle of the secretarial election, and since it's a federal election, that took precedence.
over that.
So
Over
What?
enrolling tribal members?
No,
No,
over a
over
blood
the
degree.
enrollment, over
blood
the
degree.
election of the tribe, it's
In
a
March.
federal election. The federal election took precedence in time. So
Okay.
since they weren't sure of how that federal election was gonna go, they had to put all the
Issues.
All the things we
election-
already voted on as
Right.
KBC,
As
they had to
as
put it on hold.
KIC.
But you're no longer the KBC.
They had to
But
put
see,
it on
that was
hold.
done even before the secretarial
That's the
was
other
even done.
KBCs that
Just a
never
few
moved
days.
them forward.
We
So
were in the
don't
middle
blame
of it.
us
We were in
for
the
No,
middle
what
of
the
it.
No,
other
this was, I
KBCs
know
did.
Elijah was maybe 1 or 2 years old.
Well, that's not
That's
me.
over 10, I
That
know,
wasn't
That's
us.
not me.
that's what I'm saying, that was 10
But
years ago.
We're talking about the past.
Those
And
other
I
issues,
wanna
you have
talk
to have
about
at
the
least
future.
600 votes for it to
Both of
pass,
them.
and there was not 600 votes.
Yeah, on those elections.
You have to have
So,
at
but
least
there
600
was a
votes.
process under the BIA.
Well, I
voted.
was pretty sure one of them passed.
We're
I'm
Not
pretty
with
sure one
six,
of them
But
not with
Susan,
600 votes.
If
Uh-huh.